Shooters.
Speaking of shooters, I reviewed the Syndicate. Yes, this is the old Syndicate, but let's start off there. So Syndicate is an old Electronic Arts franchise that they have decided to revamp from its over-the-head real-time strategy roots into a modern first-person shooter. So how does it compare to the old Syndicate? Well, it's really tough to say because they're two different games. Personally, I will admit to liking the classic real-time strategy game more. When I heard they were remaking Syndicate, this is what I expected from them. But what I was given was not entirely disappointing either. Like I said earlier in the show, I am a big fan of sci-fi. So games that take place in the future with robots or anything like that, or where you can be a cyborg, I have a soft spot for them. So this is the old game that we really don't need to be showing the footage of while I'm talking about the new game. So in Syndicate, you play a special agent named Kilo, I believe. It's either Kato or Kilo, but it's really relevant because the plot is fairly boilerplate, not really that important. What is important is that you are a cyborg with all sorts of cool powers. You have the power to make your enemies' guns freeze up on them. You can make them commit suicide. You can turn them against each other. You can use your special AR mode to slow down everything into bullet time and then kind of go on a killing rampage.
How do they kill themselves if it's suicide?
They put a gun to their head and blow their brains out.
That was my favorite thing to do in Force Unleashed 2 is to control the stormtroopers and have them just kind of like jump over the edge. There's like,
I would make them grab each other.
Silly stormtroopers.
Like you get a ball of stormtroopers.
A ball of stormtroopers? Oh, that sounds fun.
You want to be in the middle of that, don't you?
Going, wee!
Yes, now it is definitely rated 18. So, continuing on with my review of Syndicate. So, graphically, it is trying to go for that Blade Runner thing. A lot of silvers, a lot of sepia tones, but it's all really dark and kind of repetitive. There isn't a large palette here. Fortunately, you do travel around a lot, so most of the levels aren't exactly the same. There are a few interesting puzzles that you have to use your abilities to solve. But overall, the campaign is just kind of meh. You know, like this is a pretty
He's like, get out of my head, no!
Yeah, and I mean, there are cool points like this throughout the campaign, but the problem is they just don't really explain how to play the game well enough, and there's no instructional manual. The manual is just kind of in the game, but it's everything you read is in this like small print font, and it's just kind of set up in an odd way. So I don't think they really did a good enough job of explaining how to use your abilities or what exactly those abilities are. There's actually one ability that I read how to use it, and I still haven't been able to figure out how to use it in the game. So
GameFAQs.com.
Yep, GameFAQs.com.
If you ever have a question in the game, best site ever.
Okay, but but the campaign does offer up a decent challenge. If you are looking for a difficult first-person shooter that makes you actually think about your strategy, if you rush in headfirst, you're gonna get killed every time.
Then I would suck at this game.
Yeah, you've gotta be like, well, here's the abilities I have on hand that are charged up. I should probably persuade this guy to start killing everybody in his platoon, and while he's doing that, I'll have these guys misfire and just kind of stop what you're doing.
Stab him right in the ear.
Yeah, that is actually how you upgrade yourself in the game, is by taking microchips out of people's skulls.
It's kind of like harvesting Adam, but earwax.
Yeah, and guns like that, you get some really cool guns in the game. You get a gun that if you lock onto a target, it will shoot around corners, stuff like that. So there actually is a lot of cool gunplay and combat for Syndicate. It just wasn't always executed in the most proper way. Like there's just some areas where you're just completely overpowered and it can be really difficult to get through. Of course, I was just playing on normal mode and it was still a hell of a time. Like I can't imagine what it would be like playing on hard mode. But Syndicate's real saving grace, the thing that really makes this awesome, is its multiplayer co-op campaigns. The multiplayer co-op campaigns is where it is at in this game. They're all based off of older missions from the original Syndicate, and essentially you and up to 3 other people go around gathering intel and completing all these missions, and then you can upgrade your individual character with perks and abilities, research different weaponry, upgrade your current ammunition, things like that.
Does it remind you of Borderlands?
No, it doesn't remind me of Borderlands, not one bit. Once again, though, they didn't really do a good job. Like, you just kind of have to figure it out as you go along, and I think that is like where they really dropped the ball in Syndicate. Is they don't really explain to you how to use any of the online functionality. You just kind of look through it and figure it out as you go along. And I don't know. I really think that is the game's major failure, but it's still a ton of fun. I think it deserves a sequel. I honestly do. I think if they make a few improvements here and there, that the Syndicate could be a great first-person franchise for EA. I give it a 3 out of 5. And moving on. So.
Yes.